Hey everybody, it's me, Shahida from Black Girls Learn Languages. I decided to do a video today. It's not about languages, it's more about culture shock, and entry shock. And it's really sort of a rebuttal to a video I saw called Being Black in Germany by this girl. Her name is, let me see, Kera Ariyel. I saw the video comes up as recommendations for me because of the type of things that I watch, and a friend actually recommended it to me. I said, okay, I'll give it a watch. And it's not so much a rebuttal of what she's saying in the video, so much as it's a rebuttal of what's in the comments. And please bear with me because I'm a little sore. I went to a block party, so that's that. So I don't have my full voice, so if it sounds like I'm out of breath or anything like that, it is a little bit of a struggle to talk. But I did want to make this video because I did my makeup today to make some other videos, so I was like, I'm not wasting this. So that's where we are right now. Anyway, in the video she talks about her experience moving to Germany. She lives in Stuttgart, right? Now, everyone who knows me or knows about me or has an idea about who I am, they know that I used to live in Germany for 6 years. I lived in Heidelberg. I lived also in Schweinfurt. My mother was in the military. God rest her soul. She retired and you know, she recently died. But even after I was stationed in Germany, we were stationed there, we were living there, I got a job with a German company, and I was going back and forth to Germany for the past 3 years, like heavy. So for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month at a time. And anyway, I say all that to say that what I have to say is very relevant, even though I don't live in Germany right now, moving back, but I've been back and forth like for the past 3 years. And let me just tell you. First and foremost, one of the things I do want to address that she said in the video is she was like, get everything you need to get now because they don't got it. They don't have no beauty supply stores. Let me stop you right there. Yes, they do. Now, granted, it is nothing like the beauty supply stores here. Like here, especially in Atlanta, I used to live in Atlanta for like 8 years. That is the hair capital. You will never see a beauty supply store like we got here in Germany. It's just not going to happen. I don't care if you go to Hamburg, where it's the highest population of black people in the whole country. You're not going to see a beauty supply store like the ones we have back home. You're just not. So you can just get that out your head. But at the same time, they have something called Afro shops. And you can get some things there. It's not like you're going to go there and be asked out. Like, yeah, you may not be able to get lashes like we get. Yeah, you may not be able to get some of the same makeup. I get it. But if you in certain places, you can get that. Like, for instance, I went to Saarbrücken to visit a friend, and they also have these stores called, there's a store called Douglas. And it's kind of like they have perfumes and makeup. Like, think about Sephora. Kind of like a Sephora, if you want to think of it like that. So they have Douglas on the economy. Yes, you pay in the euros. Yes, it's going to be expensive if you don't have that military affiliation, which I no longer have. So I know what it's like to rough it and live on the economy. But you can't get makeup for you. It's just, if you live in certain places, it is going to be hard. If you're going to go live in Schweinfurt, I don't know how lucky you're going to be with that because I couldn't find nothing. If you're going to go live like in Hamburg, it's probably going to be easier because I know it's like 3 Mac stores alone in Hamburg. I've been to one of them. And if you go to like, you know, I guess Berlin probably. I haven't been to Berlin in a while. If you go to bigger cities, yes, you're going to pay more, but it is there. You can get makeup for you, but it is hard. I'm not going to act like, it's not like here, you could just go to CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Target, and find something for you. No, you could go to Cologne somewhere and there be no makeup for you. All you could use is the mascara. So I will agree with that. It is nothing like here as far as finding your shade. You could forget it. You can forget it. One thing that has helped me a lot though, when I'm having a problem with finding my shade, or let's say I don't have the money to pay 50 euros for a foundation, One thing that has helped me is getting a bronzer. If you can, certain types of bronzers are not too shimmery, and when you put them on, yeah, they may have a little bit of shimmer, but they do offer some light coverage. So getting a bronzer that's not too shimmery, that for someone my skin tone, you could get away with that. I've gotten away with that. But yeah, I just wanted to rebut that because I don't want people thinking like, oh, I don't want to go to Germany, I can't. Yeah, you can. You can find hair, you can find wigs. It's not like here. Like, it's not like Beauty Masters in Atlanta, 2 lace fronts for $40. You can forget that right now. But they do have hair. Like, I was able to get some tracks, flat iron my hair and blend it, but you know, it costs money. Bottom line is, you can get it. It just all depends on how much money you're willing to spend, or if you're willing to order online and import it. That's what it boils down to. But you can find it. Second thing, stares. People were in the comment talking about, you're not the first black woman to be in Germany. Nobody's staring at her. I can tell you, I've been stared at big cities and small cities. Like, you have to realize, she may have not been the first black woman in Germany. Obviously not, because neither was I. But one thing I can tell you is black people are less than 1% of the population. That's a big difference because here in the United States, which we're a bigger landmass, we are 13% of the population, and we're very concentrated in certain areas like New York, like Atlanta, like Miami, like some places in California. Like, we're concentrated in areas, but we are a sizable amount of the population here, and we have a sizable amount of buying power. So that is completely different than going to a country where you're less than 1% of the population. So, with that said, yes, people are still staring in 2017 like they never seen a black person before because they may not have ever seen a black person. Even in Stuttgart, because it depends. Just because she lives in Stuttgart, there are different parts of Stuttgart, like little towns that belong to Stuttgart, but it's not really in downtown. And maybe they never interacted with a black person before. And a lot of people in the comments were like, oh, it's because she's pretty. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with you being black. First of all, what's wrong with being sought out and desired, not in a sexual way, but what's wrong with being sought out and desired because I'm black? What's wrong with people trying to, why does it have to be because she's pretty? I mean, don't get me wrong, she's pretty. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, if I was gay, I would try to get at her. She's pretty. But with that said, it was like, it just really came off haterish. Like, oh, it's because you pretty. Like, you know, yes, she's pretty and she knows she's pretty, but it's because she's black. I guarantee you, if you take a very pretty German girl, she would not get half the treatment that you would get as a black and American woman in Germany. Let me tell you, I'm not nearly as pretty as her, you know. Like, someone else in the comments said something like, oh, add a little age and add a couple pounds. I bet you won't be getting that treatment anymore. It's because you're pretty. It's not because you're black. Well, I'm here to tell you, I got the age, honey child, and I got the pounds, okay? Look, I got the age and the pounds, and I still get treated like I'm Nicki Minaj or I'm Beyonce while I'm over there. Like, seriously, like, it's crazy. And it really has to do with you being black American. We export, the most that we export out of this country is entertainment. Music, TV, whatever, gets dubbed and exported to other countries. That's what we export, our culture. And because of that, being black and being American, because we are very heavily seen in entertainment, is seen as something cool. Oh man, that's cool. You know, Nicki Minaj, cool. 50 Cent, cool. You know, all these things. And then, you know, they also get Love and Hip Hop. They also get, I don't watch that stuff, by the way. They also get Real Housewives of Atlanta, all these other reality shows. They get these things. They have access to these things. Even if it don't show on their TV, they have access to YouTube just like we do. So, with that said, there's a certain allure to being black American. Really, I'm telling you. Like, I know, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not trying to be funny, but I had some friends in Germany that was American. They was black and American too. And basically, they wasn't that pretty. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I'm not trying to act like I'm all that, but they was not pretty. Like, specifically, one of them was, I'm sorry to say it, but she was ugly. And she was still getting free shit. She was still getting stuff from guys. Like, because she's American, she's black. That's it. Like, I don't want to say that girl, like, her being pretty has nothing to do with the attention she was getting. Yes, obviously she's getting attention because she's pretty, but it's mostly because she's black. I can tell you. A German girl, a super pretty German girl is not going to get the same treatment like Americans, American women of color are going to get, especially when they know you're American. It's something about being a woman of color and American. It's like so cool, it's so hip, it's so exciting. I don't know why. And I mean, like, I've had this experience where a lot of people, when I'm with my friends, if, for instance, they speak superb English, or I met them under the pretense of speaking English, we'll speak English. It's kind of weird to speak German, even though my German's good enough. And so sometimes we speaking English in public, and people automatically assume we're both American sometimes. And I've had this happen, kid you not. We're talking, and you know, me and my girlfriend, we're talking, and then all of a sudden somebody's coming up to us, oh, you guys are from the U.S., where are you from? And my friend like, oh, I'm German, she's American. Oh, you're American, wow. Yes, I've had this happen. Can't tell you how much free shit I got. Can't tell you, I can't tell you. And it's like, it really, really angered me to read the comments, because they were like, oh, it's because she's pretty, like, and it was almost like they was hating. And it's like, let me tell you something, it's not that. It's really not that. You could be black American woman, ugly, and they still going to treat you, they still going to flock to you, and it's like you have this light and they want some of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand why people can't just admit it's because she's black. Yeah, she looks like a pop star, but at the same time, I don't look nothing like her, and I got extra pounds on me, and people was still like, oh my gosh, like, for real, it's really real. So I guess I don't want to be a dead horse. I kind of was, I guess, repeating the same thing over and over, but it just really irked me. But some other things that I noticed about being black in Germany is that you have to be really careful about people, because a lot of people do just talk to you. They do just want to be your friend because of the perks that come with being black American. You do get preferential treatment. I remember one time I went to a club with a friend, and she's not American, but because, again, we were talking in German, people thought she was American, because they see me and they see her. So it was two lines. I will never forget this. There was two lines. It was one line that was taken all day, and it was another line, I guess, that was like for the pretty people, whatever, I don't know. So we was waiting online, talking, whatever. We wasn't thinking nothing. We're like, we're going to get in eventually. So we get closer to the front of the line to where, like, the bouncers and stuff can see us. So we talking. I guess they hear us talking in English, so they automatically assume, oh, they American. What do? They go grab us from the line. Oh no, come inside, come in over here. This is for the pretty people. Y'all is pretty. Now I know I wasn't as pretty as my friend, but at the same time, I know they heard us talking English, and they was like, oh, they American. Let's get them in this club now. And that is the type of treatment you will get as a black American in Germany. I mean, yes, you could go to some places. That's another thing. You got to be careful, because you go to some places and they're like, you could die. I'm not gonna lie. You know, there have been instances where, you know, the neo-Nazis of the East, and, you know, they are scattered across different places in Germany, but they're really heavy in the East. I don't care what nobody says, but you have to be careful, because there have been instances where Africans or black people have been killed or assaulted by these neo-Nazis. So you need to be really careful about where you're going, and you need to know where you're going. You need to be careful and be observant at all times. Yeah, it's nice to get on a train and travel and this and that, but you need to be careful. I remember one specific time, two times actually, one time I was on a Straßenbahn in Heidelberg, and what ended up happening was there was a Nazi on there, and, you know, I'm like, do-do-do-do-do, I was young, just looking around, and I realized this guy's staring at me. So I'm like, oh snap, you know, he's trying to, and then I realized I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh snap, no, that's a Nazi. So I'm like, oh snap, what do I do? Because I can't get off the train, and then I don't want him to follow me, and it's almost getting dark. But luckily he ended up getting off, he followed me, like, as I moved throughout the cars, he did follow me. But he ended up getting off before my stop, which was great. Another time I was in Hamburg. I was going on a date. I was meeting up with this guy. On my way to meet this guy at the restaurant, there was a Nazi on the train looking dead at me. Now, he thought I was the only black person in the car. There was another black person sitting by me, but he was sitting the opposite direction with a hoodie on. So I guess he thought he's going to come and start some shit with me. So he started to come over, and I was thinking of my, because I think I had a, did I have a wig on? Yeah, I had a wig on. So I wasn't even thinking about my life or anything. I was thinking, okay, so do I take the wig off right now and get it popping? Or, like, what do I do at this point? Because this wig is coming off no matter what I do. So what am I doing? So I'm thinking what I got in my purse, what I can use as a weapon, because it's not going down. So I guess as he's coming, he realizes the dude right next to me is black. And we thought, oh, shit, it's not one of them, it's two. And then he got off the train. So that's another thing about being black in Germany. People don't want to talk about that, but that's real. That's real, and that can happen anywhere. Just because you're not in the East doesn't mean it can't happen to you. It very well can. So you need to watch yourself. I'm not saying be paranoid, but just be aware of your surroundings, especially when you're traveling by yourself. So that's another thing about being black in Germany. I can't think of anything else because that video that I'm, kind of rebutting, she really covered everything. And it's the truth. Like, I don't know, being a woman of color that's American, it's just a certain allure. I'm going to tell one more story and then I'm out because I can't think of anything else that you guys would need to know about being black American in Germany. Being black in Germany is different. I'm going to tell you one more story. Before I tell that story, I will say this. That American privilege, honey, let me tell you something. You know white people got white privilege. You know there's pretty privilege. If you're not pretty, you don't get certain opportunities. There's thin privilege. There's all these privileges. But that American privilege, let me tell you. See, I'm starting to get shiny. This is why I always put the fan. Because, and I know y'all probably be like, oh, what's she trying to do? Not be shiny. So anyway, that American privilege, honey, like when you go into immigration or you go into the embassy or the consulate, even in regular conversation, people will try to play you. People will try to play you by talking to you a certain way. And you be like, I'm American. You better stop that right now. They be like, oh, she's from a first world country. Let me get my act together. Yes, it's real. And I use it. I ain't gonna lie. So, yeah, I've had quite a few people. I was talking to them. And for whatever reason, they thought I was African. And there's nothing wrong with being African. I am African descent. I just, I do feel a little weird because it's like, I would love to be like, oh, I'm from Nigeria, but I don't know nothing, So I'm not African, but people look at me and think I'm African. There's nothing wrong with that. But I've had instances where I didn't know people had any idea about me at all, like making assumptions about where I come from. And I was talking to people and then they're like, oh, so where you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from New York City. And they're like, oh, you're American. And I'm like, so you gonna treat me different now? Like, how was you treating me before? And I've had that happen. I know a plus size model. This is the story I want to tell. I know a plus size model of color. Her sister lives in Berlin. I actually met this plus size model in Hamburg. So she was in Berlin and she told me about how she was in a club. She was very pretty too. She was in a club with her sister. Her sister's skinny, and they were sitting in a booth. This old white German guy comes and sits in the booth next to them. They didn't think nothing of it because that's kind of common, like people to come sit at tables where you at or whatever. So she said the guy slid her like €5. And then she like took it. And he slid her €10 and she took it. So I think he started like to slide her like 20 more euros. And then she's like, hey, she said to her sister, hey, this dude is sliding me money. Like, what do I do? Her sister's like, take it. So I think at the end of everything, he slid her like 35 euros or 50 euros or something. And then she was like, oh, well, I don't want him to think I'm a prostitute or anything. So she says like, hey, I can't take your money. And he's like, no, you're so beautiful, please. I want you to take it. And I'm just like, that really happened? Like, I have completely been wasting my existence. Like, I ain't never got no free money when I was in Germany. Like, what have I been doing? I'm gonna start going to some clubs. And but yeah, anyway, she was like, yeah, she had got free money, like just for being a woman of color that's American that looks good. Like that's it. And I again, looking good does play a role, but if she'd have been a pretty German girl, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have got that money. You know? Or for instance, if I would have been a pretty German girl with my friend talking online, they wouldn't have took us offline. We probably would have stayed in line. Like, you know, it's something different about us. We look different. You have a bowl of white marbles and you put two black marbles in. Which ones are going to catch your eyes first? Of course, the two black marbles, because they're different in a whole bowl of white marbles. So, I guess that's it. I can't think of anything else that you would need to know about being Black American in Germany. Um, yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, I had a good experience. I liked it. You know, it has its advantages and disadvantages, just like being in the U.S. It has its advantages and disadvantages being in your home country, and I put that in quotation marks because you know why. Anyway, so yeah, if you're thinking about going to Germany, I suggest you do that. If you're thinking about going to Europe, I suggest you do that. Don't let anything stop you. Just, you know, weigh the pros and the cons, and that's pretty much it. Make sure you have a good time. Let me know what you thought of the video, and if you have any other observations you made as a Black American that in Germany that I didn't cover, or you had a different experience, I would love to hear about it. Okay, bye.